Thank you very much to each one of you. Thank you very much to be received in your territory, on your territory, and to feel the heart bonding here. I'm not an indigenous, and I'm very aware that what I share, it would be better if an indigenous person would stand here in my place. But among the Awajún and Wampis, the women leaders are slowly coming up. So the men for quite some time took the lead and took it too much. The women protested, but still there are some steps to take so that we have also really leaders who will dare to speak up in public. We are working together at it. Meanwhile, I would like to share with you what has been a whole process for me, a process which has been really a big gift and grace in my life. Getting to know, getting in touch with these two peoples who are neighbors, who have a lot in common cultural-wise, live in the Amazon region, is more known as the country of the Andes, highlands, Quechua culture, Aymara culture. And often it is not known too much that more than 60%, a little more than 60% of our national territory is Amazon region. And after Brazil, we are the second country of the 8 countries who have part of the Amazon region, the second country who has the largest part after Brazil. So there is a whole gift which comes with the Amazon region, and there's a tremendous responsibility. And you see all the colored pieces here are what are the states in your states here in the United States are our political regions. We call them regiones in Peru. And you see, Madre de Dios, Ucayali, Loreto, San Martin, and Amazonas are all regions who have Amazon rainforest. And I am living, when I'm there, in the region called Amazonas, northern part of Peru, very close to Ecuador. And this is the map from the local church, the so-called vicariate from Jaén. It's a young church, a church which feels the call to really walk together with the indigenous peoples, to learn from them, to side with them in their struggle to defend the land, to assure a dignified future. And it has 2 culturally different sections. The section down here is very much marked by high mountains, little campesino communities and pueblos. And this whole section, it's a so-called Tierra de los Cinco Ríos, the land of the 5 rivers. You have them, the big river Marañón, then you have Nieva, you have Rio Santiago, where the Wampis mainly live, the Rio Cenepa, all on both sides have a lot of Awajún communities. Equally holds this true for Rio Nieva. And then here is the 5th little river, not put here, the Rio Chiriaco. And this marks the way of being there. A lot of communication happens while you are traveling on the river. To reach people, you are on your way on the river. And the whole Amazon region, I have learned from the people to really feel a heart bond to this place. It's gifted with diversity in so many ways. It's ethnic and cultural diversity. The 8 countries who have part of the Amazon region altogether, in these 8 countries are living 400 indigenous peoples still, of whom 65 are living in Peru, all having their own culture, language, and cosmovision. And in Peru, several of those ones will have things in common with regard to their cosmovision and still have also their own characteristics. So there is a great richness because with culture, language, and cosmovision goes a deep wisdom of how to live in the Amazon, to take from the rainforest what you need for living and at the same time caring for it, assuring that life there can continue. And we have also the so-called colonos. These are people who came from the Andean region and settled down in the Amazon. And here you can already see one of the ideas which sometimes still is present, where you do not recognize that indigenous peoples always have lived there. It was President Belaunde who started with this, to invite people, colonos, from the Andean parts who were suffering from poor conditions of life, come to the Amazon region because it is a land without people, for people without land. You just make invisible the indigenous peoples. And it is a struggle until today, so that these indigenous peoples make themselves visible in society, speak up. And then we have groups of people who come out of professional reasons, out of economic reasons, because of the enterprises, NGOs, who are only temporarily in the Amazon region and will not have the deep bonding with this place. We have a lot of geographic diversity. When you travel to the region and you visit the communities, you partly come through highlands, and it looks like this, with mist in the morning, and rivers which sometimes are quite rough. And you have the lower section, and then it is beautiful when you travel there on the rivers. They are like a mirror. It's like a taste of paradise. And a tremendous biodiversity, life in all its richness. So being in the rainforest, being in this place, it wakens up in you a deep sense of awe towards nature. And well, we also have a different type of palm trees, different species. And this is one of the palm trees. It's stable food. What you can see here as a fruit. And it's at the same time a tree which marks, when you travel along the river, which marks your way, that you get lost. And what I learned from the people, and I learned to really appreciate the wisdom of nature, you have different layers of plants. And this makes it possible that the soil, which is not very rich, it is a soil which easily can be washed out when you do not care for it. And it is these layers of plants which protect the soil from the very strong sunshine, as you have it in the Amazon region, and from the very heavy rainfalls. And where this is not respected, because you get into the region and you start agriculture, agro-business. You start, for example, monocultures with palm trees for oil, to soil it. You can see, and when you travel, it's really, it's painful to see how earth just is washed away, and is lost, because you won't regain it. It's lost rainforest. I must say, I feel a deep bond to the place, to the Amazon region. I have become also, thanks to the indigenous peoples, more and more aware of what earth in the rainforest through this Amazon region is giving us as humanity. It's a place which really helps us to take care of the climate, because it's a sink for the carbon dioxide we have. It is a sink for all these gases which are affecting negatively the climate. And it is very important for the water supply. They calculate that 15 to 20% of sweet water, which is not in a frozen state, is there in the Amazon region. And when you see it, when you stop sometimes on the river, you visit the communities, you see the little fountains, crystal water, clear water still, where the production of oil has not started, and then it changes. And it also the biodiversity is a gift of life given to us, and which the indigenous people know to cherish, know to care for. The two peoples I'm linked with, Awajún and Wampis, who are they? Well, they belong to big families, together with the Shwa. Wampis and Shwa are the same big family. The Shwa live on the Equatorian side. It is when nations drove just their lines and built their borders and divided peoples who had been belonging together before and could move freely. The Ashwa and the Shivya, they live partly they are living on the Peruvian side, partly on the Ecuadorian side. They form together the family of the so-called Jivaro, and they are a big family in the whole Amazon region of indigenous peoples, about 120,000 persons still. Between the two tribes, the Awajún are the bigger one, around 55,000 members. They are after the Ashaninka, the second largest group of indigenous peoples in the whole Amazon region of Peru, and the Wampis are smaller, 10,000. Here you see one Awajún family, friends of mine. You see also one of the leaders, Santiago Manuin. You see him here in a healthy state. You will later on see pictures how he changed because he was affected in his body by a very serious conflict. I will talk tomorrow about it, which happened between those two indigenous peoples and the government of Peru. These are people from the Wampis community. They have the beautiful custom in Villa Gonzalo, when they celebrate the anniversary of their community, a meal is shared, a table is set, where everybody will have a seat. So they renew the commitment with each other, the mutual solidarity every year. And here you have one of our wise men, Cirilo. He knows very well the traditions of his own peoples, and at the same time, he is a committed Christian, and he combines both. He helps also to really, with respect, to inculcate the Christian faith. And he knows the old myth and knows how to transmit them to young people and the meaning of them. And here you have young family. I'm also involved in a project to accompany young indigenous people, men and women, to ask, how do they see the future? What are they longing for? What does it mean for them? In the future to have a dignified life, a life in fullness, and how also to accompany them that they are not just swept away by the strong influence and impact of globalization coming into the region. Many of the Awajún and Wampis live in the communities along the rivers, and my touching experience has been when you come to visit them, first of all, you need to be announced. You do not just enter there. So it is, to have the experience to be received. And then, here it is not very steep, but often when you visit, you have steeper pathways to climb up to reach the community. And for me, experiences which have marked me deeply were that when you are not very much exercised, it's not so easy to reach there and not fall down into the river. So how graciously the indigenous stretched out the hand to help me up there and to say, here it is me who is receiving and is receiving the help to reach, and to be allowed by them and introduced by them into their world, their cosmovision, their way of life, and their heart longings. And that was, and is for me still, a deep, deep gift. It's like not you are invading, it's like you try really to live through an encounter. And, I encounter many of the women, Wampis and Awajún, who really know a lot of the plants, different species, who have contributed tremendously in this whole area to even cultivate and develop further species of yucca, which grows into the earth, and other plants. They are very wise in knowing how to combine plants to avoid exploitation of the earth and to also avoid that the earth will impoverish. It's a church, I'm part of a group of a local church where we are on the move. You visit doing it by river, and river reminds me also that you go through an experience of transformation, of inner transformation. Things flow, things open up. And with this picture, I would like to conclude tonight. When you come to the communities, you are offered masato. It's made out of yucca. It's refreshing, but you have to get used to the taste. It's a little bitter in the beginning, a little sour. But when it is offered to you, it is offered with both hands, and you receive it with both hands, and you pass it on. And with this you are welcomed into the community. But there's also this deep meaning. To share masato is to enter into trying to get the taste of life. What is, for these people, has a taste of hope, of joy, what has a bitter taste, what has a taste of suffering, what has a taste of anxiety. And the taste of anxiety for the elder ones and for the younger ones is that big projects, and tomorrow I will talk about them in detail, come into the country, into this Amazon region, without asking the people. They have just made a big map in the offices of the government, where they put the country into sections and give out licenses for big oil companies, big gold companies, and those ones who will want to buy the plants for creating energy, electric energy, without consulting people, and that is starting to have deep, deep impacts on the life of the people, on the rainforest, and they live so much in connection with the rainforest that destroying their livelihood, it's also destroying their culture, destroying what gives life and meaning to them. So when you share with them masato, it is sharing all of this. It's sharing, they're standing up and saying, we will struggle, that we have a place in the community of Peru, in the community of the world, and we want that the rainforest will be respected as our home. Tomorrow I will share also with you what they put in to make this possible, but they also have asked me to transmit that they need the support of people in other parts of the world, first of all to be aware that the rainforest is at stake, is at risk, and that they alone cannot shoulder it, but that together, we can achieve that one of these very precious parts of the world will not just fall prey to a capitalism which only extracts, doesn't respect peoples, and doesn't respect the earth as such. Thank you.